Hello and welcome to lesson 1 of week 3. This week we are going to look at layout modules. We are going to focus on the grid and the flex layout module. My name is Mildred. Now Bootstrap uses grid system that has 12 columns across a page, and this is to ensure responsiveness. Now when we use the grid system or the grid module, it is a mobile first system, and we use containers, we use rows and columns. So what we do is we have the container class where we have container fluid, which has a full width, and we have container which has the fixed width at different breakpoints, right? So you can either use container fluid or put this in the body element, or we can have a div tag container with the class equal to, let's put this as container, do it like this, and then we close div. Now it is required that you understand HTML and CSS before coming to learn frameworks. When we have a div class like this, we have just a container where we want to put our content on the page. Now because we have different kind of devices, we have from mobile device, we have different size of mobile screen, we have tablets and little screen devices, we have laptops, different screen sizes, we have desktop with different screen sizes. And so because of this, we have different classes in the Bootstrap system, and these different classes target a different kind of devices. Now remember that the grid system is a mobile first system, so we want to have another container. We always use a div tag for content container, and I close div here. Now the first thing you want to have is a class with a value of row. So we have a class attribute, the value is row. So now you have created a row. Within each row for a container, you must have 12 columns, right? And the column is divided using the call class like this, written call. So you can have all a dash to put different sizes for the call. So we can have all like this. This one is for extra small devices, and for these small devices you have the screen size less than 576 pixels, and you normally use this for portrait phones. Then we have call SM like this, and you put a number which is going to be for small devices that is either equal or greater than the 576 pixel, and is mostly for landscape phones. Now when you have MD, this is going to be for medium devices with screen size that is equal or greater than 768 pixels, and this is usually for things like tablets. Then we have large, and this is for laptops, desktop with screen size greater or equal to 992 pixels. And then we have extra large, which is also for desktop and laptops with screen size greater than 1200 pixels. And then we have 2XL, which is also for laptop and desktop with screen size equal to or greater than 1400 pixels. And so you can handle your design for mobile first and then to fit other devices or screen sizes. Now why we prefer mobile first design is that when you build your site mobile first, it easily loads for mobile before desktop. But if you don't build it mobile first, then it's not so significant, but then for some kind of system it doesn't load on mobile as fast as it will if it's mobile first. So now we have this, we know what this is. Now for a column, you must have equal to 12 columns. So if you put 3 here, it means you have 12 minus 3, you have 9 more to work with. So you can either have equal columns or different size of columns. Let's do an example where we want Bootstrap to automatically handle the layout. And so here we have a class of row, and then we'll say g class is equal to, so if we want to do the extra small one where we put call, let's just say this is column 1, then we want to do, let's have like 3 of it. So we'll say this is column 2 and this is column 3. So what Bootstrap does when you just use call is that it automatically handle the layout. Now because it's 3, when we go to our web page and we refresh, we'll see that it divides it into 3 columns, 1 2 3, like that. We can actually use colors to make it more visible. Let's say bg info, and here we'll put, so we're going to look at these different color classes in next week's lesson, but I'll just use that here for you to see the difference. So when I refresh now, we can see it clearly because we know this is column 1, column 2, column 3. So you see how we divide it into 3 columns because we want Bootstrap to automatically handle the layout. Now if we want to specify column width, we can come here, and this time because we want a column width, we have all, and then we put a width. Let's say we have want to have 3 columns, right? And 12 divided by 3 is 4, so we must always have a total of 12 at the end. If not, it is not going to be responsive. So this will resize. If you have any device that is smaller in screen than this, it will stack upon itself when it gets so small for it. Okay, so if you have a small device, you will do this. So another example that will demonstrate using this small breakpoint, which will start at 576 pixels and then scale up, and then when we have like a mobile device with a screen width of less than 576 pixels, the column will collapse and stack. For this one we use let's say we want 4 columns for it. Let's say column 4. Let's say this is column 4, and we'll say for this now, because it is 4, we'll do 3 3 3 3. But now we want to add SM. Okay, what we are doing here is to change the breakpoint for this, and that breakpoint we have here is to make sure that whenever we have any screen width of less than 576 pixels, you want the column to stack upon itself. So we'll come here, we refresh, we have 4 columns, and when we have any width that is less, it stacks like this. Okay, so that's the advantage of using that. So for medium, this small just gives it a breakpoint of less than 576. 6, but for medium it will give you higher breakpoints, so you can change it to MD to be medium, and then it will change the breakpoint for something larger before it stacks, or something way larger than this or above for it to unstack itself. All right, so now we understand how we use all of this. Now your column width doesn't have to be, let's say for instance we want to have 2, we want to spread it like 25%, 75%. Let's say we want to have a side navigation and the content area, we can do 3 and 9 like this, which will now make it 12. You must make sure that the total is 12. Okay, so you can collapse your column into this like this, and so we have 3 columns here, and this has 9 columns. So anything you put in this content will stop here, anything will go there. So let's do an auto layout that we use an extra small grid to split the screen into 2 columns like this of 25 and 75. Let's create a design now so we can see this. Let's make this body class to be equal to, or I'll leave this one, I'll put this div container fluid, I'll make it, let's say margin top to be 3, and then let's put a h1 tag. We just want to design a small page and say extra small grid, and for this we have auto layout, and we want to, then I'll close h1, and then let's put a paragraph here, and I'll say this is an example of a grid layout using Bootstrap's grid system, splitting the screen into 3 and 9 columns. And now we have this div class row. Let's have another, let's make this container fluid again, row, and then we have column. Let's say we want this all to be 3. We have BG, let's say BG primary. We're going to look at how to specify all these colors, and both for text and for background, text white, and let's put the padding 3. And then we have a content here. Let's make this content, this column, let's say this spans 3 columns. The rest of the space is used or is occupied by the other column. Okay, and then we'll do this one, we'll remove the small, and let's change this to dark. If it's dark, let's change the text to white so we can see it, and we'll put a padding of 3 like this. And we'll say this spans 9 columns, and the rest of the space is already occupied, and then the total volume is now 12. Now we can stop. When we come to our web page and we refresh, we can see that we have created a page. We have text here that spans 3 columns, and we can see, and this 9 columns, and we can see how we formatted this to have this page. So extra small is anything less than 576 pixels, small is greater or equal to 576 pixels, medium is greater or equal to 768 pixels, and then large is greater or equal to 992 pixels, extra large 200 pixels, and extra large 400 pixels. These are breakpoints, which means that when the screen is greater or equal, you'll see it, but when it's less than, it stacks upon themselves. That's how what the breakpoint is used. So you want to either do mobile first and make Bootstrap automatically do the layout by using the call without small, medium, or large. And when you do this like this, see, it doesn't stack, but I want it to stack. I want to give it a breakpoint by using, when it is a mobile device, I'll put SM here for this breakpoint like this, and when I refresh, once it's smaller like this, it has to stack on itself. Okay, so this is how we have a responsive web page where we can create our layouts with using rows and column, and this is what the grid system is about. Okay, we have different alignments where we can use vertical alignments to have align item starts and end, or align self. We are using a flex module, so we can also do things like, let's change this and see another way we can do this. Now we have the row here. We can say, let's say container row, and let me put G3, and then here is, I want this to be call MD for medium, so now say call 12 to be just 1 column that takes the whole row 12, and let's make here 4, so it's span 4 columns, and then I want to have another one here, and I will say 12 MD, and I'll put 4, and let me change the color here to be this, and then this spans 4 columns, and then I'll put here to be 12, and I will put call MD4. So we have a breakpoint for when we have this medium, and when we have the medium, when we have something like a tablet or so, it handles like this. If not, it just automatically stacks them. So you can do things like this. And so when I come here and I refresh my page, you see it's stacked, but when I expand, it's like this. So when it's a tablet size, so I can do it this way. So you can see from tablet size, that's when it unstacks, and anything less than tablet size, it stacks itself. Okay, so we just do this automatic resizing stacking to be 12 like this. So you see when you do your design, you want it to be responsive, you don't want to have horizontal scroll bars and all of that. So you can have mixed auto and fixed columns, and I'll just show you this so that you can always know when you see them, you know what they mean. Okay, so let me remove this, and let's say we want to have div class is equal to row, and let's use the vertical alignment. We'll say align items center, and we want to close div. Now within this div tag, we want to have the 12 columns, so we can say div class is equal to, so you can have call auto like this, right? And let's say this one, we want it to be the logo. Now we want this to, all the contents to fill the remaining space. Let's say we want to have the logo, and on the side we want to have the controls. So let's put auto, and here we have like the controls. And then you want now Bootstrap to automatically fill the order. You just use all and say the main content fills the remaining space like this. Okay, so when I come here and I refresh, we can see that I didn't put a color, so you can see the logo will be here, which is auto control. So whatever the size of the logo is, it will shift this, and the controls will shift here, and the main content will be in the middle. So you can do all of this based on whatever design you want to create. In the next lesson, we are going to look at the Flex layout module. Thank you, and see you in the next lesson.